Let's move to Ablekuma North. The Coalition of Domestic Election Observers is an independent and non-partisan network of civil society groups, faith-based organizations, and professional bodies which observe Ghana's elections. It was established in 2000 under the auspices of the Ghana Center for Democratic Development, CDD Ghana, to mobilize citizens of Ghana, so you see the word mobilize, to participate in the electoral process actively and to complement the efforts of Ghana's Electoral Commission in ensuring transparent, free and fair elections. The coalition is a 41-member organization and has grown to become the largest and most credible domestic election observer body in Ghana, which mobilizes citizens and groups to participate in Ghana's electoral process. They've issued a statement signed by Joseph Fong. Francisca, please give us the highlights.
Okay, so the statement reads, the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers, CODEO, expresses grave concern over developments during the Ablekuma North constituency election rerun held last Friday, July 11, 2025. Although the coalition did not deploy observers to any of the 19 polling stations, our keen observation of proceedings through reports on traditional and social media revealed that while election officials and logistics were duly present and the commencement of polls was timely, the voting process was marred by incidents of vote buying, serious lapses in security, intimidation, and violence at some polling stations. The coalition condemns the incidents of violence and intimidation against poll workers, voters, journalists, and 2 female politicians. The Ghana Police Service is, however, commended for immediately interdicting the officer allegedly involved in the assault of a journalist. The coalition urges the police to move with alacrity to apprehend and prosecute all persons involved in the acts of violence. Perpetrators must face the full force of the law to deter others from engaging in such undemocratic practices during elections and clamp down on impunity. CODEO encourages all Ghanaians and the media who captured various angles of the incidents to make their videos and photos available to Ghana Police Service to aid in their work. The coalition also notes and condemns the use of incendiary and provocative language by leading members of the National Democratic Congress and the New Patriotic Party in the aftermath of the violent incidents. It is clear that political party actors are unwilling to learn from the many years of election violent outcomes and the many victims it has produced in the Fourth Republic. This behavior is even more egregious given that the country is recovering from a difficult 2024 elections and transition, partly marred by electoral violence. This toxic political culture must be stamped out of competitive politics. Otherwise, it will one day overwhelm all of us and destabilize Ghana's young democracy. Further, the security lapses observed during the election rerun, and in spite of the heavy deployment of security personnel, raises very serious questions about the state of the Ghana Police Service. Given the high-stakes nature of this exercise in a densely populated area, it was shocking that unauthorized persons who looked like party vigilantes were allowed to roam around in vehicles, some unlicensed, and enter polling station areas without any interception. Groups of individuals were also allowed to mass up, creating an intimidating atmosphere for poll workers, voters, and the general citizenry. The most worrying observation was the actions of police officers guarding the gate to the St. Peter's Society polling station in Odoko, who basically stepped aside as thugs forced their way into the polling station to assault agents and 2 politicians. This posture of the police was observed during the 2024 elections and transition. The emasculation of the police service is a clear and present danger that must be fully addressed by all stakeholders. CODEO calls on President John Mahama and the Police Council under Article 202, Clause 2 of the Constitution to exercise its powers of control and direction of the Inspector General of Police to institute an inquiry into the recent action of police officers in the handling of police duties involving political actors. This must be done urgently to ensure clear remedial actions are taken ahead of the by-election in Akwatia. We call on all stakeholders, particularly political actors, security agencies, the Electoral Commission, and the judiciary, to reflect on these developments, implement the necessary reforms, and take decisive action to address the problem of election violence, political vigilantism, and the independence of the Ghana Police Service. CODEO will continue to monitor the election space, contribute to constructive discourse, and advocate for electoral standards that ensure a peaceful, transparent, and inclusive elections.
And I think it's a very, very well-written statement, placing the responsibility squarely on the government, the president, to take action in relation to leading the effort to bring sanity to our by-elections and other elections. Also, the police administration need reinforcement, because the policing that happened, although they did not want to be confrontational, I think there were a lot of things they could have prevented in sort of just watching people vandalize or enter a polling station to just go and beat up people. And then the political parties and the massing up of people as well. 19 polling stations, and all these guys are marching there. It creates a very unstable environment, and it seems like the political parties know what they are doing when this type of things happen, and all of us are on edge. And I think the part of the statement that I am really associating with is that if we don't nip this in the bud, we'll get to a stage where our overall democracy will be compromised, because elections are getting closer and higher, more higher stakes every time, and this type of behavior, unpunished, is what leads to its repetition. All right. So I think the statement is very well written. I hope the government will take action. Today we are told the Minister for the Interior is going to address the public on some matters. I hope this by-election is part of it, and what happened there, because it's squarely under his jurisdiction as Minister for Interior. And the police and the way they are equipped is also under his jurisdiction as well. So I don't know where else we could have. And I think the president needs to make a statement as well on this, because it cannot happen under his watch. When he was in opposition, he would say, the President of the Republic must take responsibility for what happens at such programs. So I believe that he has to say, no, this cannot happen under me, and institute an investigation, and whoever is found culpable must be punished to show that this will not be tolerated. If this is allowed to slide, it then becomes the norm, because now we are told that Akwatia, people are preparing. If the by-election is going to happen, we are going to see more mayhem, and it's something that this government should not allow to continue. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, I want to take us back to the 2019 Vigilantism Act that was passed. That was supposed to cure the similar violence and political vigilantism that we saw during the Ayawaso West Wargon matters. And so it's good that CODEO brings up Akwatia, because that's potentially a domino effect that we are going to see. There was, the act looks good on paper, but in terms of enforcement, we don't know which individuals, which political party, we don't know any big politician who has been at least arraigned before the courts for the things that happened
or held responsible.
Exactly, for the things that happened at Ayawaso West Wargon. And it appears that this rerun at Ablekuma North is mirroring what happened in Ayawaso. And so there's concern for the next primaries, which is going to happen. For the next by-election happening in Akwatia. And I also think that, first of all, a lot of the chunk of the blame or responsibility must be placed on the head of the Electoral Commission. Doesn't appear that the security of the election or electoral security reached a certain standard that we were all expecting, given the history.
It's in their hands, though. If the Electoral Commission organizes an election, they will obviously invite the police, and the police must then, based on whatever the security assessment is, deploy to meet it. Now, the military said they were not going to be part. Indeed, the defense minister posted on Facebook that morning that when they were in opposition, they said they didn't want soldiers to be part of our elections, so they would not take part. And they believed the police had what it took to take part. So I feel that the Minister for Interior has to answer.
And you're not wrong, but now if you look at the Political Parties Act, the Electoral Commission's mandate is not simply running elections. They are supposed to regulate the election space. They are supposed to regulate the political parties. And if we are seeing a lot of these violence that are most likely being used as political strategy, then the Electoral Commission must be tougher, okay? And granted that they are not supposed to be on the ground in terms of security, they're supposed to liaise with the police, the Ghana Police Service. And the expectation that there wouldn't have been a recurrence of violence at this election rerun is reasonable for every Ghanaian, every tax-paying Ghanaian.
Yeah. Let's go on the line and speak to Joseph Fong from the CODEO, who signed this statement. Very well-written statement, putting culpability where it lies. Mr. Frimpong, thanks for joining us on the City Breakfast Show. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Ablekuma.
So I noticed you've taken the trouble to walk us through what you observed, not on the ground, but through the various media channels, roundly condemn the acts of violence and intimidation, but also you are asking, of course, condemning the political parties for what they did. Let's deal first with the police. From the statement, I noticed you're saying it doesn't seem our police is fit for purpose because you questioned the state of the Ghana Police Service. How so?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Avle. So, generally, the violence and the disturbing incident that marked the Ablekuma North rerun is something that is deeply troubling, not just for those who were affected by the events, but for every Ghanaian who actually believes in democracy, rule of law, and peaceful political participation. So, although we couldn't go to the field as you indicated, we monitored the kind of activities or the events through the traditional and social media. And per the videos that we saw and many publications that we read, we found out that some of the incidents that occurred, the police service that they were meant to ensure peaceful voting, though they were somehow there, and some of them looked unconcerned when some of these violent activities occurred at some of the polling stations. Although they did well by interdicting one of their members, as regards the many violent activities that happened, from the videos that we saw, some of them seemed unconcerned or they were overwhelmed by the turn of events. So we were much concerned about the role that they went to the polling station to play, because looking at the various by-elections and reruns that, as a country we have witnessed, though they should have known that this kind of election, the stakes were very high and, should have prepared towards any of such incidents happen. But we didn't see that from the videos that we watched from our secretariat.
You say that the posture of the police on Friday is similar to the posture you observed during the 2024 election and transition. And then you go on to say that the emasculation of the police service is a clear and present danger that must be fully addressed. So you feel like it's not like the police can't do anything. Is it like they feel disempowered or they are not bold enough to act? What's your reading of the posture of the police?
Okay. So when it comes to the capacity of the Ghana Police Service in addressing some of the violent issues that do occur at polling stations, we are in no doubt that they have the capacity to deal with those issues. But the challenge is when some of these issues actually involve the political leaders or politicians. For that one, we see that the ability to address some of the issues somehow is in doubt. So, what we ask of them is that normally when some of these incidents happen, we want them to address the issue as it is, no matter who is involved, because that's their mandate, and they have the duty to ensure that laws are maintained at the polling station for people to vote in peace. Yeah, because we can't be having some of these elections that are marred by violence. Whenever that happens, it affects the integrity of our elections and our democracy in general.
In terms of duty bearers, I notice you call on the President of the Republic and the Police Council to take the lead in this. Why those two?
Yes, because per the Constitution, that's Article 202 of our Constitution, the President who is in charge of the Police Council, though they have the mandate to initiate some of the inquiry into some of these actions to help bring perpetrators to book. So we called on them to act in accordance with what has been stipulated in the Constitution to address some of these issues, because it's their mandate and they are the ones who are to address the issue.
Now, what about political parties? Because the stakeholders are many. EC, police and security, political parties and the judiciary. What is because clearly this is political party instigated, right? It's not the police who went to cause the confusion. It's the political parties who did this. Yes. Is it that they cannot be spoken to? Is it that because when they commit political crimes, they are not prosecuted, they get away with it? What's with them and by-elections that makes them keep doing this?
Yeah, so when it comes to elections and violence, in itself, some people who even indulge themselves in violence, they have their motive of indulging in violence. So during the rerun at Ablekuma North, if you monitored some of the interviews that the leading parties, as MPP and NDC, some of the comments that they made, some of them were blaming the victims that they deserve it. Others too were saying that they disbanded their vigilante group. That's why these things happened. So when it comes to the political parties, they are one of the key stakeholders in our electoral system. So for that point, we want all the stakeholders, especially the political parties, to know that when it comes to electoral integrity, we can no longer entertain violence. And they need to follow the law as it is. And you asked a question as regards how the political parties, whether they have not been spoken to. Historically, they have always been engaged when it comes to addressing violence. If you recall, even before the 2024 general elections, they were made to sign the peace pact and all those kind of things. So it's something that all of us, we need to speak to it and urge them to always do the right thing. They should monitor the way they speak when it comes to election-related issues, because those things do instigate violence.
So clearly the prognosis for Akwetia is dire, right? If things don't change rapidly, Akwetia may be a bloodbath.
Yes. So looking at the stake, the Akwetia North by-elections and the historical nature of our by-elections, the major stakeholders when it comes to our elections should be proactive, because we can't witness what we just witnessed last Friday and the ones that we have witnessed in times past again in Akwetia. So as we are approaching the Akwetia elections, we urge all the stakeholders to draw critical lessons from what happened in the Ablekuma North rerun and work collectively to safeguard our democracy. Ghanaians, we deserve better, and we can do it.
Thank you, Joseph Fong, Coordinator, CODEO Secretariat, signing a statement and commenting on same on behalf of CODEO. captioned, CODEO condemns acts of violence and vote buying during the Ablekuma North constituency election rerun and calls for swift investigations and prosecution. And CODEO identifies 4 key stakeholders: security agencies, electoral commission, the judiciary, and political parties. Those are the big 4. Right? Security agencies being the police and the others, electoral commission, which organize the election, the judiciary, who have the right to prosecute, or not prosecute, but they adjudicate for him. So that the Attorney General or whoever has...
That's why the AG's department ought to have been in there, because the police may arrest and put the person before court, but if the AG is unwilling to push the matter, it dies a natural death.
So the AG's department and then the judiciary working to sort of adjudicate. Maybe special prosecutor as well, depending on how you see it. And
well,
of
that
course,
is if corruption related matters.
And then the
Can I just add, they categorize all of what happened into 3 main chunks. You have the problem of election violence, political vigilantism, and the independence of the Ghana Police Service. I think it's very clear.
Yes. And the police are in a difficult situation because the political parties instigate these things and then they are caught in the middle. Of course, you would say they should go frontal and meet, but it could lead to more problems, right? Because these guys, some of them are armed and they enter a polling station.
But Bernard, you see, to a large extent, I hesitate to say this. It is only the state that has monopoly over violence, really, and to use it under reasonable circumstances. No citizen of the land, unless you are threatened in a way as to use violence in self-defense, you have no right to use violence against another person. It's unlawful. But the police are mandated under the law to use violence when necessary, and it has to be reasonable, to prevent somebody from committing a crime, or to effect an arrest of somebody who is committing a crime, or to prevent somebody from running away when he is in lawful custody. You understand? Amongst other circumstances under which the police can use lawful violence. Well, what we saw over there on Friday required robust response from the police to deal with the situation. But in many ways, in my view, the police failed in truly astonishing ways. Bernard, look, and this thing takes its roots from past elections. By elections, you can talk about Kwetia, you can talk about Talensi, you can Wulensi. I mean, plenty by elections, including what happened in Odododio, Atiwa. Exactly. But you see, let me take you back to 2004. The elections were happening peacefully until, and the police were working their backside off properly until it became sort of obvious that.
So 2024.
2024, yes.
You said 2004.
Oh, why do I keep? I don't know.
You are old. 2024.
Yeah, that's right. Look, everything was going fairly well until it became sort of obvious that, look, this thing might swing the other way. So the police hierarchy, apparently unsure of, this thing, where was it likely to go, decided that, okay, the people can misbehave, we'll do very little or nothing at all to intervene. Between December 2024 and now, Bernard, look at the many cases of indiscretion, misbehavior, criminality that we have recorded as media houses. People were bold enough to enter EC collation centers, seize electoral materials, destroy them, burn them, destroy public property, destroy private property. Many of them were captured on videos. Till today, not a single one of them has been successfully prosecuted or even arraigned before court. Charged. To the best of my knowledge. Yet we have policemen, big and small, paid every single month. We have a whole criminal, investigations department responsible for prosecuting, finding out the people and prosecuting them. Then we have national security officials who we pay to ensure that things like this do not happen. The question you ask yourself is, if people, including members of parliament, some of them lawyers, who have got to know better, they could go into EC offices where they are doing collation, compel EC officials to do things not consistent with what they found on the ground, though, but their will. And nothing is done to them. Do you seriously believe that the ordinary person who is watching would not also be tempted to do what we saw on Friday? That's one of the problems.
Unity.
So for you, the police need to take responsibility.
Exactly. Look at what happened in the Hawa Koomson's case. These boys who effected the kind of chaos that we saw, people saw them at the back of a pickup doing all kinds of signs showing that they will be killing people today. They saw them. And when they got to this particular place, they jumped off the pickup truck or the pickup, and they were marauding towards the entrance of the space. And CODEO, I'm happy they noted that. The police had erected a human shield in front of the gate. It wasn't some open space. There was a major gate in front. The police were there, and they sought to prevent them. At least they gave some instructions whatsoever. Anytime the police give a lawful instruction, and it is to be assumed that every instruction that the police give is lawful until proven otherwise, because official acts are presumed to have been regularly performed. So when the police gave some indication that, look, you were coming into an area you ought not come to, and they refused to listen, the police were under a legal obligation to intervene at that point. Suppress them, arrest them, and take them away. But what did they do? They allowed them to enter the space. And then when they entered, they were moving straight to their target. You had the member of parliament aspirants there from the MPP side, and Hawa Koomson, who, of course, doesn't have a good history when it comes to violence. And that's a matter I think has got to be investigated on a different plane. And the people responsible, including herself, if she's found accountable in that particular case, she should be prosecuted. They were moving towards that direction. And it was obvious to anybody that the way the guys were moving, they had an intention to do something untoward. So a dutiful officer, a responsible police officer would have intervened at that point. But of course, they have been overpowered. And that result is what we all saw on the screens, and completely unacceptable. No man, properly so-called, raised properly, should do that kind of thing they did to a woman. Completely unacceptable. And I am scandalized by so many days after this thing has happened. The police have not told us that they have arrested the people responsible, because live video cameras captured them. Their photographs are all over the place. It is completely unacceptable. All we heard was that, they are assuring the public that they will get involved in the matter, they will find the people responsible. No!
They should do their work.
They have to do their work properly. You look, the IGP that was brought in after the earlier one was taken out of office, he has not been brought in to come and preside over things like this. When the government talks about reset, it means that we want to work our country in a way that is acceptable to the highest standards of proper governance. Small election in 19 polling stations. Look at the level of violence that we saw. Small election to represent the people. Look at the level of violence that we saw. And what is more disappointing is that because of Hawa Koomson's own history, people now think, people in government who bear the responsibility of holding this country together, whose job it is to ensure that they show the best of us, are on social media, are in interviews justifying this completely unacceptable conduct. If I were the president, I would line up these guys and fire all of them to send a signal that I do not endorse this kind of conduct. It may well be the case that Hawa Koomson misbehaved previously. Allegedly, at least, we saw videos and all kinds of things happen with her at the thick of affairs. The presidency then failed to do what he ought to have done. Ideally, President John Dramani Mahama should not repeat the mistakes of the earlier president. If your officials are in interviews, they are on social media justifying this attack on womanhood, justifying this attack on our elections, our democracy, perpetuating violence, and actually supporting the same because it happened before, when you promise that you do things differently. I mean, what kind of Ghana are we expecting to have? Completely unacceptable.
100%.
And Bernard, the Attorney General's Department, we also expect to hear something. Because you are not only the Minister for, what do you call it? You are not only the Attorney General, you are also the Minister for Justice. When we go out there and we are signing all kinds of protocols and treaties, included is also the need to protect, women in politics and all kinds of things.
So should they go on their own to prosecute, or should they wait for police? Because from the way it was, I thought the police are the ones who do an investigation.
Under our laws, the AG has the authority to direct the police to get involved in this matter and get the people arrested immediately.
Okay.
Get warrants secured, arrest the people, hold them before court and prosecute them. And when they are prosecuted, hopefully, the cases will be properly made and the judges will put them away. But it must be done fairly. We do not want to hear any pressure on the president coming from any political quarters that the people should be freed because they were acting to protect the integrity of the ballot. That is an insult to our intelligence and the democracy as we know it.
Richard Sky making it clear that culpability must be placed where culpability lies. We've been speaking to the CODEO, who have also roundly condemned the acts of violence, asking for the police to show fortitude and for the president and the police council to act to prevent what would now become the continuation of a very vicious cycle of violence in our by-elections. Akwetia we don't know the date for Akwetia, but if things don't change, we could be in big trouble.